We're talking about jumping timelines here. We're leaving all the fear, all the convoluted information about timeline jumping, and we're just going to trust the jump. That's actually the title of this video. I didn't know if you could read or not. The deck that we're reading from, the Pleasure Oracle. We're just going to get a little quick energy reading. If you're new to this channel, I like to pull 3 cards to just kind of get some clarity on what we're talking about. So, there have been some extreme shifts, just in the collective in general, but individually, we've been feeling a lot of these shifts because so much has changed in such a short amount of time. Collectively and individually, but especially individually, there's things that you've actually noticed, and you've seen all the signs and sure, so you are very aware that this is actually happening. The magic hotline, babe. Ring ring, it's your destiny as a fully expressed, whole, and healthy sexual being on the line. And just like the smutty old school hotlines, the universe is waiting to take your call. Sex magic is how you dial in. Spoiler alert. Whether solo or partnered, sex magic works under the millennia's old assumption that when we increase our arousal, we increase our energy, which in turn allows us to manifest, select our ideal reality on the astral plane. The bigger, the more pleasure, more power. Assuming you have the climax, the bigger the portal of possibility you open, allowing your heart's desires to flood into new areas of your life. Just try it. Just try it. That's what the card said. It said try it. I wasn't encouraging you to do anything. The card said it. Just saying. Those peaks, so we shift, and if you think of this on a practical level, when we shift our mindset into the manifesting and the abundance and the affirmations, you're shifting your mind frame into a more positive state so you can see the things that are actually coming towards you and have much more gratitude and clarity, humbleness, and fulfillment when you see these things come in for you. So it takes a shift in your mindset because you can be given so much and not see what's in front of you. If you've ever heard any of those old-timey stories about the old king dude who just gorges himself with all kinds of food and has a bunch of gold and is just the most awful rotten creature in the world. I don't know why that's in the back of my head somewhere. I think that's a real story. It might not be. But yeah. You can be given so much in life and not see what's in front of you. So it's really important to take this shift and grow with the changes too, because then you can understand well, aside from the important things like boundaries and stuff, but how to actually be happy with the things that you've created around you and the choices that you've made, because sometimes we can have this vision for ourselves and sometimes it's actually pretty nice. Maybe it's somebody else's ideal storyline, timeline, whatever, but it's not ours, and that's okay. But we realized that at some point in level, and so we weren't completely satisfied with what we were doing, and so that's why it's really important to take this growth and accept the growth as soon as possible, because then you won't have so much years wasted, bro. You won't have so much years wasted just trying to think about what if scenarios and how to change things, how to do both at the same time, those things. You won't have to worry so much about all that. Some of that can bring too much chaos, and you have your energy is spread out into too many places, and so it's not focused. When you focus your energy on one specific thing, then it grows so much more rapidly. So it's very important to hone in on what you actually want and not what you think you want. So you'll go through a lot of trials and tribulations, You're gonna want to see that card. Well, it's pretty obvious. Like, we hear this all the time in any spiritual videos, any type of like readings. That was the first card, the Tower. We have to like literally lose so much in our life in order to like really reset. Start over new. The 1 and the 6 makes 7. Fresh starts, bro. Everything has to crumble down. Like old paradigms, old structures, old governments, they have to be demolished in order for new things to flourish and take place. 455 when I was saying that. The old ways are gone. The old ways. They're gone. So anything that seems to be taking a big shift, I would prepare for it physically, mentally, socially, but not in a way that you're like anxious or afraid of what's going to happen. It's not going to be one of those type of situations. It's just you're seeing the warning now so you can be prepared for the changes and the shifts, so you're not scrambling at the last second trying to figure out what to do. You're being prepared for changes. It's crazy how the universe works. It's gonna be like knocking on your noggin and being like, hey, the world is changing, so should you. And it happens so fast, so fast. But then we get this material gain because we start to see our divine duty, our divine purpose, the purpose that we give ourselves, and shifting those timelines to focus in on selfish error. Watch those videos if you haven't already. Wink wink, links in the description box below. Hit the like and subscribe button while you're there. The material gain, super important, because like this seems scary. I mean, there's like tentacles and fire and all kinds of crazy stuff, but then you get this right after. See that little twig? It's like grown. It's like this tiny little twig. It's got like some flowers growing on it. It's material gain. You gain something by losing something. Sometimes you gotta lose to gain. You gotta lose something first in order to gain something second. Not always, but you know what I meant, I think. The last card that we pulled, the card that I told you to pay attention to, that you're gonna want to see, it fell on the floor. It flew right out of the deck. The Ace of Cups. You got everything in the bag, bro. Like, the Ace of Cups is like the Master Manifestor card, but it really is kind of giving you this, like, hey, look, your cup is filled. It's gonna continuously be filled. Chill out and enjoy yourself. And just focus on growth and your journey and what you want to build and create, whatever, business-wise, creativity-wise. Just focus on that, because having that focus is going to bring you more energy and attraction to whatever your social media pages are, so you can get more exposure, more coverage, but then you can start really getting into your rhythm and your flow and trusting what you're doing, and other people will see this trust and they'll start to be attracted to it. So it's like this flow of energy. It comes to break down old paradigms and structures, and so it's very chaotic at first, and then you realize this chaos was actually like helping me. Am I a chaos witch? Yes you are. It's okay. You thrive that way. And really just allowing yourself to kind of thrive in the chaos and thrive in the change allows you to see things with a much broader perspective that gives you this like humbled clarity on like society and just trying to figure out like how to function in this strange society. You're gonna want to watch this card too. Hold on. Don't fall dying. Fall trying to do it. Pick it up. Whew. I don't know if you've watched any of my videos. This is like my favorite card. This is the Tree of Life. These are all these different colored tails. These are all the different paths This is you holding this pathway of like energy and different doors. If you can see these little colored tails at different doors and pathways that you can open, you have this choice. There's so many choices and possibilities for you to explore. When you understand that that's what you had to release and structure in your mind towards selfishness, so you could actually figure out what you wanted, and so these choices would become much more easier to make. Trusting the process is not easy because the universe is very impactful. Like, and when it tells you it's bringing in some change, I ain't talking about quarters. Okay, just be prepared. Rob a giant piggy bank. Collect what you deserve. And just understand that it's a part of the process of reawakening. We've been here on this timeline so many times. In order to awaken faster and utilize the things that we've learned in our past lives, we have to be kind of like impacted by this chaos and just kind of just spooked in the face just for a second, just so we can have like this sort of reality check, like, hey, this is actually what's going on. So ground yourself because it's happening. So timeline shifts can feel really chaotic because you don't have this sense of knowing. It's a sense of release of control for you, and that can be the most extremely scary things that you can ever do in your life, is just completely surrender to the universe and trust that it has your back and knows what you want. That is so, if you like literally thought about that, all the variables involved, that is very tricky to do. Some people, it comes so naturally. We're not talking to you, I love you, but this is for the people who need a little bit of motivation, because this stuff is hard sometimes. I love you, it's not that hard. You're just gonna trust. The trusting is the hard part. But once you do it, once you just are like, you know what, fuck it, once you get to that point, it doesn't matter anyway. So maybe you'll get to that point and you're just like, fuck it, and it happens, and then everything's all good. That's probably the best possibility ever, because then you don't have to like go through all the extremely hard work. No, I'm just kidding, it's probably gonna hit you still. But seriously, just learning how to trust that there's other forces that are beyond us is really hard because of the way the world works, and it's so much like crushing darkness that sometimes it's hard to see like the light and the balance between it all, but it does exist. You just have to have much more of an open perception. And so going through all these situationships, all these struggles and tribulations, allows you to kind of see things from more perspective, more broader perspective, so you're not this tiny little creature thinking about these tiny little things and not all the other things that are involved, because that part is hard. I don't care how honest you are with yourself, how overthinking you are, or how much you process information. Like, it would be literally impossible to think about everything always. So sometimes it's just better to just surrender and let go of the control, because the control wasn't actually real. It was a thought that you thought. You thought you were in control, but you weren't. And so there was anxiety from when things happened and triggered you. And so it wasn't necessarily that those things weren't supposed to happen, or that you were being punished, or anything bizarre or, damning like that. It's more so of these things happened the way that the natural occurrences happen. But having that mindset that we're in complete control over our own reality is where all the anxiety really does actually kick in. Sometimes that's really hard to understand and fathom. But you'll see this release of energy when you start to actually surrender. And you'll realize that you never did actually have control. You just thought you had control, and that's where all that anxiety was stimulating. It was self-inflicted anxiety, you know. Whew. But once you realize that, then you don't ever really have to go back. There's not really a way to go back anyway. You're just kind of moving forward from all of the growth. So think about it positively. Because it is. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to go through trials and tribulations. No, it's not ideal. No, it's not what we want to experience in life. But sometimes we lose people, we lose situations, we lose friendships, relationships, so we can grow this inner strength and figure out some more things to create for ourselves. So it gives us this divine wisdom that we can utilize and make more for our own reality with. So having this knowledge and this wisdom from whatever we went through is really going to help us blossom and flourish and not have to go through those same situations. So, just realize that you have this inner wisdom that you've gained from this, and having that knowing of the wisdom will help process the information even easier. So you're not constantly trying to process information. I don't know. That one's kind of difficult. Like, sometimes it's just better to understand that the universe has your back in a way that you don't really know what specifically is going to happen, but you know that, it's going to work out. And that's ultimately all you gotta need to know. Because then the stress gets eliminated, and then you can just kind of enjoy yourself and enjoy situations and your immediate surroundings much easier. Because some people can be doing things like in vacation mode. And I know this from life experience. Some people can literally be in like vacation mode and just not be enjoying themselves because of all of the self-inflicted misery that they're causing themselves to just kind of relive over and over again. And it's almost like this mentality that, unless there's chaos in my life, there's nothing is going the way that it's supposed to. And to those people, they don't see that they're doing that either. So it's almost like this perpetual cycle that they can't see. And so it's frustrating for the people involved, because the people involved can see what's actually going on. And when they try to communicate this information to that person, it doesn't process, because that person has to see what's going on. They can't be told this information and just know how to process it. I love the world, but it just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. But having this knowing that, you can't really control somebody else's chaos, but you can be, in your own element, in your own world. Even if somebody else is going through something, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go through things too. Like, we don't have to feel guilty for being happy. We don't have to be guilty for doing things that are beneficial for us when other people are not. We are not superheroes. But at the same time, that sort of thing can be really frustrating energetically. So in order to really focus on jumping timelines and your own shift of energy, you gotta focus in on yourself, your selfish air, letting people fight their own battles, and being there to be supportive in your own ways, whatever ways that you can, but not being there to be some type of like ritual helper, superhero, magic woman. Like, we can't do that for people. People can't be saved. People gotta save themselves. Sometimes we can help people, but there's things that we gotta start weighing out sometimes. I know it's not what anybody wants to hear, but sometimes in order to really fill somebody else's cup, you gotta fill up your cup first, you know? Somebody's gotta pour water into the jug so everyone else can take a swig of it. I'm just saying. So don't get engulfed in trying to really work with other people's timelines and their shifts. And if something isn't aligning and you're focused on like something very specific, like you want somebody specific to jump into your life, that sort of thing is just not going to, it's not the energy. Having that sort of focused energy on specific things, it's a lot more convoluted and complicated than what you're fathoming it to be. So just surrender. The ultimate gift is surrender, because that will allow what's meant for you to actually come towards you. You can still attract what you want. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but having that surrender, the true surrender, is going to actually bring in what's meant for you. Not just what's meant for you, but like literally what's meant for you, what you signed up for, what you want. Sorry, I'm really itched. And so you can really start to release a lot of traumas and attachments to things that weren't actually honest with what its purpose and having this power over your life really was. That one's deep, I'm sorry. But yeah, we go through these perpetual cycles of choices because it's like literally our own responsibility to make the change in the choice, because we have the choice. We have all those pathways. We had all the little the different colored tails with different doorways and gates to open. We have choices. If you're not making the choices that are going to help you grow and benefit and flourish and have the best intentions for yourself and the people around you, it's just, you're not going to be able to jump timelines the way that you want. This isn't for people who are wanting specific things. I know that this may be very disappointing for you, but that's okay. I'm here to disappoint everybody. No, I'm just kidding, please. But seriously, having these strong expectations for something very specific is control, and control is fear-based. It's this element that you want something to happen because there's this lack of something else, and so you have this attachment to something specific, and it becomes unhealthy even when you don't see the unhealthy aspect of it. We can't see our own downfalls, and we can't see what goes on behind curtains. So the people, the person, maybe, like, say we're wanting somebody specific, they're a cheater, we don't know that. The universe knows that. And so the universe blocks all of that, but you're still stuck on this specific person, and the universe is like, oh my god, somebody tell this bitch that he's a hoe. And you just don't listen. Or you don't know how to listen. Like literally, it's not going to happen that way. And if it does, it's only going to be temporary. It's not going to be something permanent, soul contract, binding. Those things are real. But it's not going to be this thing where you're just stuck in a position. However, if it's something that's really, really, really not meant for you, it's not going to happen no matter how much you want to try to manifest it. You're doing it wrong. Your intentions are in the wrong places. You're not thinking with clarity. What is meant for you will come to you, but you gotta surrender that sense of control. That does not mean that you can't desire the things that you want and manifest them, write them down too, but A real timeline shift, a real jump, something that's going to literally change your entire life needs to happen with natural flow of energy. Just saying. Take that today. I hope today's video makes at least an ounce of sense to some of y'all, because this was meant for you. If you're watching this now and this video actually makes sense, it's because this video was meant for you, and it's a sign that maybe you were listening, but there were some things that you weren't completely listening to. So this is your sign to like trust and surrender. I'm just saying. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hit that like and subscribe button because I already told you to. Okay, bye.